In a world that often equates strength with power, vulnerability can feel like a weakness. But what if we told you that true strength is found in vulnerability? What if we told you that there's a transformative power in embracing our weaknesses? What if we told you that it's through these moments of vulnerability that we can truly experience the profound strength of grace? Intrigued? Join us as we explore the profound truth hidden in 2 Corinthians 12, 9, 10. Let's delve into the heart of 2 Corinthians 12, 9, 10. The Apostle Paul presents us with a profound paradox that challenges our conventional understanding of strength and weakness. The first key phrase, "My grace is sufficient for you," illustrates a fundamental Christian belief that God's grace or unmerited favor is enough for us. This grace is not earned or deserved, but freely given by God. It's a lifeline when we feel we're drowning in our weaknesses, our failings, and our insecurities. It's a reminder that we don't have to be perfect because God's love for us is unwavering, even in our imperfection. Next, we find, "My power is made perfect in weakness." This statement may seem counterintuitive. After all, how can strength emerge from weakness? But this paradox is central to the Christian faith. When we are at our weakest, when we surrender our pride and admit our inability to cope on our own, that's when God's power is made manifest in us. It's a transformative process, turning what we perceive as a negative into a positive, a liability into an asset. Lastly, Paul exclaims, "When I am weak, then I am strong." This is the culmination of the previous statements. It's not about glorifying suffering or hardship. Instead, it's about the transformative power of embracing our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities. When we do, we allow God's strength to shine through us. We become conduits of His power, and in this process, we find an unexpected strength within ourselves. This passage from 2 Corinthians isn't just about faith and theology, but about life itself. It teaches us that it's okay to be vulnerable, to admit our weaknesses, and to rely on God's grace. It encourages us to view our struggles not as impediments, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. As we see, this verse challenges us to rethink our understanding of strength and power. In the kingdom of God, the weak are strong, and the strong are those who admit their weakness and rely on God's grace. This is the profound truth embedded in the heart of 2 Corinthians 12, 9, 10. Now, how does this verse apply to our everyday lives? Imagine a single mother working 2 jobs to support her family. She's tired, she's worn out, but she presses on. Her strength doesn't come from her physical ability or her mental resilience. No, her strength comes from her faith, her belief that God's grace is sufficient for her, even in her moments of weakness. Or consider a young man battling addiction, struggling to break free from the chains that bind him. He stumbles, he falls, but he gets back up. His strength doesn't come from his willpower or determination. Instead, his strength comes from his vulnerability, his admission of weakness, and his reliance on Christ's power to transform his life. And then there's the elderly widow coping with loneliness and grief. She's heartbroken, she's lost, but she finds solace. Her strength doesn't come from her independence or her ability to carry on. Rather, her strength comes from her acceptance of her weakness and her delight in the knowledge that when she is weak, then she is strong. These stories, and countless others like them, demonstrate the profound truth embedded in 2 Corinthians 12, 9, 10. They show us that it's not about denying our weaknesses or pretending they don't exist. It's about embracing them and understanding that it's in our moments of weakness that God's power shines the brightest. As we reflect on this verse and the stories we've shared, let's consider how embracing our vulnerability can lead to spiritual strength. The profundity of 2 Corinthians 12, 9, 10 lies in its paradox that our weaknesses are not to be shunned but celebrated, for in them we find our true strength. The first key phrase, "My grace is sufficient for you," underscores the sufficiency of God's grace in our times of weakness. The second, "My power is made perfect in weakness," unravels the paradox of finding strength in vulnerability. And finally, "When I am weak, then I am strong," speaks to the transformative power of embracing weakness for the manifestation of Christ's strength. Let's carry these truths into our daily lives. When we face trials, let's remember that it's not about our strength, but about the power of Christ in us. Remember, it's in our moments of weakness that we find our greatest strength. For when we are weak, then we are strong. Thank you for watching, and God bless you all.